Hey, Lead with Spark crew. As you know, on this leadership podcast, we help women leaders translate effort into evidence. So today, we are going to end the invisible work tax. That's right. With simple tools you can use this week, like reframe tasks into outcomes and impact, send a quick 3-3-1 update to your manager, and set respectful boundaries that protect your focus. Expect tips today on managing up, executive presence, delegation, and of course, prioritization. I am aiming all of this at performance reviews and making you promotion-ready proof. If you want momentum without burnout, then let's make your wins impossible to miss. Welcome to the Lead with Spark podcast, the show where real women lead with authenticity, show up with presence, and live out their purpose. I'm Lynsey Mulder, speaker, C-suite executive, family gal, travel junkie, and a firm believer that your leadership starts from within. Around here, we go beyond the fluff. We talk about the real stuff no one teaches you in leadership training. Your values, your superpower strengths, boundaries to stop burnout, and how to quit being the chaos coordinator of your own life. Whether you're building a business, leading a team, or just trying to stop feeling stuck in the daily grind, this is your space to get clear, get aligned, and finally lead with confidence. So let's cut the noise and reconnect with the spark that makes you, you. Let's go get our spark on. Have you ever finished up on a Friday absolutely spent and think, wait a minute, none of my work this week is showing up on anybody's dashboard? That is the invisible work task. It shows up as taking notes, organizing the meeting that wasn't yours, smoothing out conflicts so that work can continue, mentoring that new hire, herding stakeholders to a decision. You know what it is. All of it is necessary, absolutely necessary. But are you credited? Rarely. Today, we're going to end that tax with a simple playbook that you can start using immediately. Here at Lead with Spark, we make sure to turn real-life leadership into tools that you can actually use. So here's my episode promise for today. By the end of this episode, you'll have a weekly 3-step process to make your work visible without feeling salesy. We want to create a weekly rhythm that locks in your credit for impact and a few boundary scripts that protect your energy and your results. Our goal today? Help you translate your efforts into evidence so that your impact is visible, credited, and promotion ready. Let's start with what invisible work really is. There are 4 big buckets. First, what I like to call office housework. It shows up as note-taking, scheduling, party planning, all those little things that you think just take a second but actually start to accumulate. The second bucket is glue work. You know what that is. It's all the coordinating of people, the unblocking of issues, the translation between teams so that things don't fall apart. The third is emotional labor. This invisible work can be taxing. It's providing onboarding or mentoring support, lifting up your culture to keep everyone on that high, or even de-escalating those tense moments on the team, between 2 people, or in a meeting. And the fourth and last bucket of invisible work is misframed outcomes, which is sometimes invisible even to you. It's when you describe your week as tasks instead of results, so it looks small even when it was huge. None of these buckets are bad. The problem is they become constant. We don't get credit for doing them, and often they're unevenly assigned, especially to women leaders who are already carrying a lot. A quick story. A client told me, I didn't ship anything this week. We looked, she had run 5 sync meetings that resolved a pricing dispute, prevented an angry customer call, and kept a project on track. That project represented $200,000 of revenue that was at risk if it would have been delayed. That is not nothing. That was her week. The impact was real, but the visibility was zero, even in her own mind. So let's fix that in 3 moves. The first move, Diagnose what you're carrying with a quick SOS scan. In this case, SOS stands for stop, optimize, and share. Think about your week. Imagine what your calendar looked like and all of the things that you did. Now think of 3 or 4 reoccurring things that you do every single week that nobody really sees. Do you have it in your mind right now? Okay. What you're going to do next is label each one with stop, optimize, or share. How do you decide? Well, let me tell you. Stop is what can you simply stop because it doesn't serve your goals or your team's goals or your company's goals. If you're always compiling a nice to know spreadsheet that no one actually reads, archive it. You're allowed to retire work that doesn't matter. You know those meetings on your calendar that happen regularly, but you go to them and you're like, nobody ever makes a decision. Why do we go to them? They're just report outs. That is a prime opportunity to stop. Are you putting together metrics that no longer drive your decisions, but it's a habit, so you keep doing it? Archive them. Come up with metrics that will actually drive decisions that you're going to make for your team. That is how you decide if it should be stopped. Or you could choose optimize. Optimizing are things that we know are necessary, but they should probably be systemized so that we can lighten the load on our calendar and our energy. These could be things like using a template agenda, an auto distribution list, creating a checklist that you would place at the top of every meeting invite. The question you want to ask yourself is, how do I do the same impact with half the friction? Almost every company can optimize things like onboarding, metrics, reports. Even stakeholder herding can be optimized with a standard one-page decision brief and a standard operating procedure that tells them how many days they get for a response. That's optimization. The last label option is to share. What needs to rotate so that the burden is fair? If you're always the note taker, you can say, hey, I'll take notes today and I'll drop a one-click template so that we can rotate this going forward. That's not spicy, it's not rude, it's actually equitable. One thing I often hear from women in leadership is that they're the default party planner, the one who has to put all of the team building activities together. Many love to do it and it's their superpower and it lights them up. That's fantastic. However, for a lot of people, it can be really draining. And that planning can actually be rotated. It can be shared. So if you're driving, just make a mental note to do this when you park. Circle those 3 to 4 weekly tasks and write SOS, stop, optimize, or share next to each one. You just made space in your calendar without losing value. The second move is to design for visibility. This is the heart of the playbook, and this is great to consider when writing your resume too. Most of us describe outputs or tasks. I facilitated 3 stakeholder calls. That's a task, it's an activity, and fantastic that you did it, but I want you to ladder that up with outputs that are outcomes and impact. For example, at one of the meetings, you could have unblocked the pricing decision, which kept the pilot on track and protected $200,000 in the pipeline. It's the same week, it was the same activity, you facilitated the meeting, but it's a very different story. It shows the impact to the entire organization. Here's the format: output, outcome, impact. 1, 2, 3. Use it everywhere. Status updates, performance reviews, one-on-ones, even your own notebook. If you can't find the impact on the first pass, ask, wait a minute, what did this enable? What risk did it reduce? What time did it save? What decision did it make possible? Or how did this impact our end customer? Now cement the habit with a tiny weekly ritual that I call 331. Every Friday, send a short note to your manager or to a Teams channel if that's how you roll. Include 3 bullets. What you completed, that's your output, and 3 lines. What did it change? That is your outcomes and your impact. Lastly, just one ask, the decision or the resource that you need next. That's it. You can complete this in 2 minutes. You're not bragging, you're providing a map for what happened last week and the impact that you're making in your role. Give people that map before you ask them to move. When they know the why, the target, the guardrails, and who decides what, it becomes very clear. It allows them to also take action without feeling risky. There's no guesswork in it. And when we publish the criteria and share outcomes openly, it becomes obvious who moved the needle, so the recognition goes to the right people. Here's what it sounds like in real life. Quick wins for the week. Number 1, unblocked pricing with sales so pilot can be delivered on time. Revenue at risk reduced. Number 2, rebuilt onboarding checklist, shaved 30% off, created efficiencies. Number 3, coached 2 PMs through the launch risk review. Risks are now owner tagged with dates. Next week, finalize beta customer list. I need a call on 2-tier price test by Wednesday. That's short, clear, and visible. I want to point out a quick tip for managing up. Mirror your manager's scorecard with the 3-3-1. Ask your manager in advance which 2 outcomes matter most to you by Friday. Then, when you frame up your 3-3-1, you can use their language and metrics. For example, if they say delivery, revenue, and efficiency, your 3-3-1 on Friday is kept pilot on track for delivery, protected the pipeline revenue of $220,000, and reduced onboarding time by 30% to create efficiencies. You're mirroring their words. Visibility isn't lobbying, it's really giving your leader the evidence that they need to back you up. And if you want to level it up, build a visibility ladder. Step 1 is just own your private log. The 3-3-1 notes become your archive. Step 2 is your weekly note to your manager. Done. Less than 2 minutes. Step 3 is a snippet that you share in a broader team's channel. Just one of those bullets with one of those outcomes or impacts. Step 4, once a quarter, assemble kind of like an impact reel, where you're taking all of this information and putting it into a single page. Include your outcomes, quotes from stakeholders, anything that will travel into a promotion conversation. You're building the receipts for your next role as you go. It becomes a performance review or a promotion-ready proof pack. Once a quarter, you're packaging that evidence up so that you can show the things that you've done and the opportunities that are ahead of you. Like I said, include outcomes, impacts, metrics, any risk that you've reduced, revenue that you've potentially impacted, quotes from your stakeholders. Even things like screenshots or before and after charts are helpful. Keep it crisp. You're not bragging, you're documenting business impact. That was a big one, but let's jump into the last move. Move 3. Deliver the message with clean and kind scripts. You're going to need several as you go about your day. So let me give you some examples. When you want to close a meeting with impact, try this. Today we landed on X, the decision. That enables Y by this date. 2 risk factors are A and B. My ask is C. That was 30 seconds that make sure that your contribution is attached to the results in the room where it happened. You're sharing the task, the outcomes and impacts, things that you might have averted, and what you need next. It's an echo check that's designed to make invisible work visible. When you need to rotate that office housework, try this. I'm happy to capture notes today, but let's rotate going forward so that it's equitable. I'll drop a 1-click template in the channel along with the rotation list. Now, if somebody pushes back, just stay calm. Remind them of the why. Notes are critical. That's why we should rotate them. I've made it easy for you by creating a template. Here's another one. When you're reframing glue work so that it's credible, try to connect the work to the impact. Something like this. I will lead the stakeholder alignment meeting because it de-risks the launch. I'll track it as decision unblocked in the status report. You just connected the invisible work to the outcome. When you need to defend your deep work time, try this. I'm heads down from 9 to 10:30 today working on the launch plan. I'll reply to emails right after that. It shows that you're not disappearing. You're choosing the sequence that protects results. You are simply prioritizing your day and setting those non-negotiables. And when you need to say no, do it with context. Try something like this. Our goal is to hit the November launch date. The A-list features deliver 80% of the impact, so we're deferring the B-list features. I'll message stakeholders and offer a January slot for the B-list features. Notice what happened. You name the why, the stakes, the criteria, and the support. That's leadership. Give them the context that they need to be able to get on board quickly with the decisions that you're making. This should be in both directions. Whether you're sharing that decision up or down the ladder, we want to provide context. And while we're talking about this, let's add 2 boundary habits that protect visibility and your energy. First is simply meeting hygiene. We all know this, however, it squeaks by in every office. If a meeting lands without an owner, a goal, or a decision needed, respond with curiosity and ask, what decision do we need in this meeting and by why? If the meeting is just for a status update, then simply reply and share that you'll send your update by the end of the day. You will be amazed at how many meetings transform into an email paragraph when you ask that question. And that boundary has a ripple effect to everyone's calendars that were involved. The second boundary habit that I love, a calendar block that keeps you honest. Schedule 60 minutes with yourself every Friday. Title it Impact Log. That's where you're going to craft your 331, tag the outcomes with the numbers if you have them, and copy any kind quotes from your stakeholders, your teams, your peers, your manager. Put it all into that little proof section. This is your living brag document, but I prefer to call it an impact document. If you like structure, you can use the CAR frame: challenge, action, and results. What was your challenge? What was the action that you took? What were the results that were created by that action? Done, documented, complete. Now let's make this personal for a moment. Visibility is not vanity, it's stewardship. It honors your efforts, clarifies the path for your team, and gives your leaders the information that they need to support you. It also distributes credit where it belongs, across the people doing the glue work that holds everything together. I want you to get the performance review and promotion that you've earned. I want you to be the obvious choice for the next big assignment and stop paying interest on the invisible labor. So here's your mini challenge for this week. First, run a quick SOS scan on your reoccurring tasks. Choose one to stop, one to optimize, and one to share. Put the decision in writing so that it sticks. Second, send a 331 note this Friday. 3 bullets, 3 lines of outcomes and impact, and 1 ask. And if you want to be extra brave, paste one of those bullets, just one, into your team's channel. You're modeling the habit for everyone. Third, rotate a piece of office housework. Watch what happens when the expectations move from, hey, she'll do it, to we'll share it. If you do those 3 things, the tax bill drops immediately. You'll feel the shift, and so will your team and your stakeholders. Before we wrap, a quick word to leaders managing teams. If you want to end the invisible work tax at scale, make visibility part of your system, part of your culture. Add a tiny outcomes and impact section to your weekly status template. Make a 331 a shareable ritual. Rotate meeting roles on purpose. And when someone closes a meeting with, hey, here's what this enabled, say thank you for making the impact clear. Culture is what we praise and what we repeat. All right, that was a lot today. Deep breath. You've got this. End the tax. Design your week so that the work that keeps everything alive is credited, celebrated, and used as evidence for your next step up. Make your wins impossible to miss by your teams, your boss, and in your performance review. I will see you next week. Stay strong, live your spark. Well, that's it for today. Thanks for being here and for doing the work to lead yourself first. If this episode sparked something for you, take a second to subscribe, leave a review, or share it with another woman who's ready to own her leadership. And remember, the way you lead your life is the way you lead everything else. If you or your organization are looking for a speaker, an impactful workshop, or an executive coach, head over to lynseymolder.com and let's connect. Keep showing up. Keep leading with spark. You got this. I'll see you next time.